In the lush jungles of Madagascar, lemurs are turning the forest into their personal pharmacy and party zone. Picture this. A lemur chomps down on a toxic millipede, drools profusely, rubs the slime all over its fur, and chills out in bliss. What looks like bizarre behavior is actually smart and maybe a little indulgent. These lemurs are using the millipede's toxins to ward off parasites and catch a buzz while they're at it. Turns out they also prefer fermented fruit juice over plain water. Scientists call it zoopharmacognosy, animals self-medicating, but lemurs seem to be mixing healing with a touch of recreational flair. And the wildest part? This behavior might not be so different from ours. Stick around, because this isn't just about lemurs getting lit. It's a window into evolution, instinct, and the strange ways brains, even ours, chase relief and pleasure. The millipede ritual, weird but real. This bizarre behavior was first recorded in detail by scientists observing red-fronted lemurs in Madagascar. These lemurs deliberately seek out a specific type of large millipede, one that produces benzoquinone and cyanide-like compounds as a chemical defense. Now, in most cases, any animal would instinctively avoid something that spits poison. But not these lemurs. They bite into the millipedes just enough to get the goo flowing, then salivate heavily, rub the toxic substance all over their fur, and often proceed to eat the remains. Why? Because this toxic secretion acts as a natural insect repellent. Lemurs are constantly under threat from mosquitoes and other parasites that carry deadly diseases like malaria and filarial worms. The millipede's chemicals help protect them, especially around the fur where bugs tend to gather. This behavior is known as self-anointing, a primitive but effective form of natural medication. In other words, lemurs are using the jungle as their pharmacy. Wait, are they actually getting high? Here's where it gets even more fascinating. After rubbing themselves with the toxins, lemurs have been observed to enter what looks like a dazed or euphoric state. Their eyes glaze over, their movements slow, and some even fall into what looks like a dreamy stupor. Others begin playing or grooming with a sort of exaggerated slowness, similar to intoxicated behavior in other animals. This isn't just speculation. The BBC documentary series Spy in the Wild captured footage of lemurs biting millipedes and visibly entering altered states. The behavior was repeated multiple times, often with what appeared to be enthusiasm. The lemurs weren't just protecting themselves, they were enjoying the buzz. Some scientists believe the high is just a side effect of the chemicals. Others argue that lemurs have learned to enjoy it and now deliberately seek it out. Either way, we're looking at a behavior that appears to combine utility with pleasure. Just like humans sipping wine, for the antioxidants, the lemurs may be using millipedes for protection and a little recreational fun on the side. Booze in the jungle lemurs love alcohol too. If you think the millipede ritual is wild, get ready for another twist. Lemurs, it turns out, are also natural alcohol lovers. In a controlled study published by Dartmouth College in 2016, scientists offered IAs, a nocturnal lemur species, and slow lorises, a range of sugary liquids, some with no alcohol, others with increasing alcohol levels up to 5% ABV. The results were astonishing. The primates consistently chose the alcoholic drinks, even when weaker, non-alcoholic options were available. One II even returned to tap on the empty cup after finishing, suggesting a clear preference or craving. Even more curious, they didn't act drunk. They maintained coordination and showed no signs of intoxication. That's because these primates, like humans, possess a powerful alcohol-digesting enzyme known as ADH4, which allows them to metabolize ethanol effectively. This adaptation may have originated over 10 million years ago, during a time when early primates foraged for fermenting fruit. In short, lemurs have evolved to enjoy alcohol and handle it like champs. The evolutionary connection, it's in our genes. So what do millipedes, jungle booze, and lemur parties have to do with us? A lot, actually. The gene that allows IIs and slow lorises to process alcohol, ADH4, is the same one that helps humans tolerate ethanol. Genetic studies show that this gene became significantly more active in our primate ancestors around 10 million years ago. Scientists believe this coincides with the time when fruits on the forest floor began to ferment more frequently due to environmental changes. This alcohol tolerance wasn't just for fun. It allowed early primates to gain access to high-calorie, energy-rich food-rotting fruit without the side effects of intoxication. The calories helped them survive, and those with better alcohol tolerance passed on their genes. In that sense, alcohol-seeking behavior may not be a cultural invention. It may be an evolutionary survival tool that started long before wine cellars and cocktail bars. The fact that lemurs not only tolerate alcohol, but choose it further supports this theory. Their biology, like ours, is built for it. Breaking down the lemur logic. Let's simplify this wild behavior into a clear narrative. First, lemurs have a problem: mosquitoes and parasites. These aren't just annoyances. They carry deadly diseases that can reduce lifespan and affect reproduction. Second, they find a solution: chewing millipedes that produce powerful insect-repelling toxins. It works. The bugs stay away. Third, the solution has a side effect: intoxication. The chemicals affect the lemur's nervous system, causing drooling, euphoria, and altered behavior. Fourth, the lemurs appear to enjoy this side effect. They return to the same behavior repeatedly, suggesting that it feels good, possibly even addictive. Finally, we observe a broader pattern. Across primates, including humans, there's a tendency to seek out chemical highs, be it alcohol, nicotine, or the millipedes' neurotoxins. It's nature's weird way of balancing survival and satisfaction. Intelligence, instinct, or addiction? This behavior raises a compelling question. Is it instinct, intelligence, or addiction? Many scientists believe lemurs are displaying a combination of learned behavior and evolutionary instinct. They aren't just stumbling into millipede intoxication by accident. They're selecting specific millipedes, biting them carefully, applying the secretion, and even sharing them socially. That points to cognitive processing, the ability to observe cause and effect, remember positive outcomes, and past behaviors between individuals. In fact, in some troops, young lemurs learn the millipede trick by watching adults. Could it become addictive? Possibly, but there's no evidence yet of physical dependency like we see in humans. What we do see is repetition, seeking behavior, and signs of pleasure, which are all ingredients of complex neurological reward systems. So yes, your cousin's drinking habits might be more natural than you thought. The science behind the high. Let's get a little technical. The millipedes targeted by lemurs release alkaloids, benzoquinones, and sometimes cyanogenic compounds. These chemicals can be toxic in high doses, but in smaller amounts, they create a neurological response. Think of it as nature's mild hallucinogen. Once absorbed through the skin or mucous membranes, these substances can alter brain chemistry. They likely affect neurotransmitters like dopamine and acetylcholine, which regulate mood, energy, and attention. That explains the drooling, the dreamy behavior, and the lemur's tendency to chill out post-rubdown. Compare it to how nicotine, caffeine, or even chocolate affects us. A small amount can stimulate the brain, enhance alertness, and cause pleasurable sensations. So in essence, lemurs are practicing chemical self-optimization. Call it jungle pharmacology. What lemurs teach us about ourselves. It's easy to laugh at lemurs getting loopy on millipedes, but beneath the humor lies a profound truth. Animals, like humans, are driven by a mix of instinct, experience, and reward. This behavior reveals self-awareness, curiosity, and perhaps even pleasure-seeking qualities we often think of as uniquely human, but they're not. Lemurs remind us that intelligence and emotional complexity are scattered throughout the animal kingdom. And when we look at their alcohol preferences and chemical strategies, we're not just learning about lemurs, we're seeing a mirror held up to ourselves. Our craving for altered states, whether through wine, weed, sugar, or social media, isn't modern. It's ancient. It's evolution doing its thing, helping species explore, survive, and sometimes feel just a little better after a long day in the jungle. Jungle chemistry is no joke. To wrap it all up, lemurs really do get high by chewing millipedes. They use the toxins to protect themselves from parasites, but in doing so, they absorb chemicals that alter their state of mind. It's not a cartoon, it's a survival tactic with a side of euphoria. We've also seen that some lemurs love booze and have the biology to handle it. These behaviors point to a fascinating evolutionary path shared by humans and our primate cousins. So the next time someone says humans are the only ones with a drinking problem, just smile and say, "Tell that to the lemurs." If this video entertained, surprised, or educated you, go ahead, share, subscribe it. Because when nature's secrets are this weird and wonderful, they deserve to be told.